Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa iti namine. Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa namine Gora Karuna Swarupaya Krishna Prestaya Te. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Nitai Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Jaya Jaya Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa. Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Guru Dev. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Itinami Vaja Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Chidvaita Gadadhara Siva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namaste everyone, welcome again to our Congregational Kirtan Vyasapuj special day 3. So thank you for coming, and I'd like to share a mic to my, from Cavite City to Singapore, to my firstborn child, Aja Krishnadasi Tolentino. Haribol, Ate. It's your turn.
Please accept my humble obeisance. Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Iti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Iti Namine Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Paramahamsa Namine Gunakaruna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Pristayate Raja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vyasapuj Bhaktavinda Raja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vyasapuj Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Haribol.
Thank you, Aja Krishnadasi,
Thank
Ate,
you, Daddy.
Scholar Ate, in the house. Take care always. Love
Haribol. Thank
Krishna.
you, Krishna.
Fireball.
Haribol.
Okay. Here from Cavite City to Singapore. Now we're going back to the Philippines, to Pasay City. Bro Bimadas. Are you there?
Haribol, bro.
There you are. Haribol.
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 Ako. Okay. Okay na. Namo Krishna Krishna Prestaya Matasira Paramahamsa Krishna Prasaya Kale Shrimati Sira Paramahamsa Krishna Prasaya Kale Shrimati Sira Paramahamsa Shri Krishna Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shri Vasudeva Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Prabhu Shri Advaita Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Vasudeva Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Vasudeva Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Vasudeva Bhakta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Bol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur, Nitai Gaur, Hare Jaya. Jaya Jaya Nitai Go Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Nitai Go. Hello, namaste.
Thank you very much, Bro Bimadas.
Oh, thank you, Red.
Pasay City, Nick Villamore Air Base. From Villamore, we're going to Rizal, Muntinlupa. Ma'am Ellen, Limakulangan. Are you there, Ma'am Ellen?
Audible, sir. Can you hear me?
Aribo, can't see you. There you are. Aribo.
Namao Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Madhusira Swarupananda Paramahamsa Iti Namini Namao Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimati Siddha Swarupananda Paramahamsa Iti Namine Namao Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimati Siddha Swarupananda Paramahamsa Iti Namine Namao Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimati Siddha Swarupananda Paramahamsa Iti Namine Namo Siddha Swarupananda Paramahamsa Iti Namine Vara Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Krishnaya Devi Namo Siddha Swarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Ora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Krishnaya Devi Namo Siddha Swarupananda Paramahamsa Namine Ora Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna, Krishna Devi, Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadara, Shri Vasudeva, Bhakta Vrinda, Raja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadara, Shri Vasudeva, Bhakta Vrinda, Raja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita, Gadadara, Shri Vasudeva, Bhakta Vrinda, Nityananda, Nityananda, Gauranga, Gauranga, 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 Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Madana, Mohana, Bala, Govinda, Rama, Madana, Mohana, Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Madana, Mohana, Bala, Govinda, Rama, Madana, Mohana, Gopala, Govinda, Rama, Madana, Madana Mohana Bala Govinda Rama Dana Mohana Bala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Bala Govinda Rama Dana Mohana Bala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Bala Govinda Rama Dana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana 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 Mohana Jaya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Jaya Gauranga 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Gurudev Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya 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 Gurudev Jaya Srila Prabhupada Hari Bol Hari Bol.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Ellen. Aribol. Now we go to the portion of the God Guru speech video lecture entitled Embracing the True Equality of All Beings. Let's offer obeisances. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astotera Shata Shri Srimad Jagad Guru Siddhaswarupananda Prabhupada Ki Jai.
You know, one time I remember seeing it was a television show, and Jimmy Carter, the former president of the United States, he was saying something to the effect that the Egyptians and the Jews were really okay, and there was really no reason for them to be fighting, because after all, as he put it, he said, I really feel close to both the Jews and the Egyptians because
No sound.
you know, one time I remember seeing it was a television show, and Jimmy Carter, the former president of the United States, he was saying something to the effect that the Egyptians and the Jews were really okay, and there was really no reason for them to be fighting, because after all, as he put it, he said, I really feel close to both the Jews and the Egyptians because we all worship the same God, the God of Abraham. So what he's saying, of course, is that there are many gods, and that Abraham's got his God, and then the descendants of Abraham are part of that tribe, part of that group. See, this is a false idea of religion. So in other words, the Jews and the Mohammedans and the Christians should really be brothers and friendly and everything. But what about the people outside of that? Okay? Because they worship a different God, therefore, of course, there can't be peace. This is their idea. That there are many gods, and that each of these different gods has different names. And some people follow one God, and some people worship another God. They don't understand that there's one God, and that the same one Supreme Being has many names. This they can't figure out. They can't understand how one person, how one being can have many names. They can't understand this. Even though I myself have so many names, and even an ordinary person has so many names, God can't have many names. So if we call God Govinda or Krishna, and somebody else calls God Jehovah or Allah, therefore we're worshippers of different gods according to these people, not knowing that it's the same Supreme Being who has different names according to his characteristics, his pastimes, and his qualities. Just like, you know, you got a businessman, he's sitting in his office, and you know, he's sitting at his big desk, and his secretary says, Mr. Jones, over the, you know, the little intercom thing, Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones. He says, yes. And then his wife calls him up and she says, honey? Right? And the little kid runs through the door, his son runs through the door, jumps up on his lap and says, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. Right? Then his mistress calls him something else again. In fact, the wife can have so many names just for her husband. Huggy Poo. Oh, so many names that, you know, they won't say anyone else to hear. Don't call me that in front of anybody. Secret names. So a person has his names, his nicknames, so many names. Here in the Philippines, guys got so many names. I myself, I have a name. Siddhaswarupananda, Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa, Jagad Guru, Chris Butler, Siddha, what's some other ones? I don't even know all my names already. There's a real problem for my books and stuff, you know? What name do we use on the front? It's a real problem. Because marketing, you see, is very simple. You can't have too many names or they forget it's by the same author, you know? One book I put out one name, the other book I put out under another name. They can never figure it's the same guy. You see, so it's a real problem. So if I can have so many names and you can have so many names, then why God cannot have many names? Huh? Why? It's so stupid idea. Ridiculous idea. God is one entity and He has different names according to the different qualities that He possesses, according to the different entities who are relating to Him in different ways. Some more reverential, some less reverential, some more intimate, some less intimate. So God has so many names. There's not many gods all fighting in the sky over our loyalty. There's simply thinking team spirit. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, our great-great-grandfather, spiritual master in our disciplic line of teachers, he said the greatest enemy of man, the greatest enemy of mankind is this party spirit. Party spirit. My team, your team. Ooh. You know, like they have all these gangs now, yeah? This is the party spirit. Catholics, Protestants. And the Protestants themselves are now divided into so many teams, you know. The Assembly of Gaudis and the, you know, so many I don't even know. Southern Baptist, the Southern Baptist Convention, Baptist. I don't know all their names, so many. And they all have this little schism, you know, fighting. Team spirit. My team versus your team. One time, it's really interesting. You find, for some reason, boxers, all of a sudden, boxers have all become religious. You notice that? The boxers have all become very religious. And they all, before the fights, in the newspaper you read before and after fights, they're always giving glory to God. And it's really interesting, especially when they're both call themselves Muslims, followers of Allah, you know? They're saying, you know, Allah will be with me. And the other guy's just saying, Allah's with me, you know? Whose side is Allah on, you know? One of them loses, the other one wins, usually sometimes they're both named Muhammad too. Muhammad in the white chunks and Muhammad in the red chunks. So, when one of the Muhammadans gets knocked out, then the other one praises Allah. What is this? But if one was a Christian and one is a Mohammedan, then it's a fight between the gods, no doubt. So it's not a question of, you know, George Foreman versus Muhammad Ali. It's a question of Allah versus Jehovah. You see. So they even bring down their schisms, their sectarian fighting, even they want to bring it down to the level of sports and everything. Can't get away from it. When they wear their crosses sometime on their neck, they don't wear it because they want to be reminded of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ in order to cry, in order to actually feel the sorrow and the suffering and actually take part in that and become a servant of Jesus. But it's simply as a badge. Simply a badge, that's all. This is my team. You know, this is my team. This is not religious life. Religion means when you understand that you're the eternal servant of God and that everyone, all living entities are part and parcel of God. Everyone is God's servant. Everyone is God's servant. Some may be realizing it, some don't realize it, but everyone is God's servant. Some may be acting on it, some may not be acting on this fact, but it doesn't matter. They're still God's servant and should be respected as such. Religion is not something you can join or quit. Sometimes people come and they say, I would like to join this. I'd like to join. How can I join? I never know what to say. I always go, I never know what to say to the people. Even after a lecture like this, there'll probably somebody come up here and ask me if they can join. Or maybe somebody from television is going to write in and say, how can I join? I really like what you said. How can I join your team? Don't know what to say. You want to join a team? There's so many teams to join. Go join something. You know, become a Rotarian. Become a Lions Club member or whatever. Join a baseball team, you know? Rah, 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 against the other guys. Right? You know? And gangs, there's so many gangs. Go join a gang. But if you want to understand your identity and develop your love for God, then you can apply this process in your life. And yes, you need association with other people who are trying to develop their love for God. So yes, we have a center you can come and hear to try to apply to your life and have spiritual association by hearing and singing God's names, trying to understand, applying. This is, of course you need spiritual association, but not this is my team. This is our team versus the other team. This party spirit is very much against the spirit of love for God. It is against true religion. So therefore, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he is feeling very sorry that this party spirit is making it so that people cannot see each other as we are, and that is God's children. Just like in India, you have this problem. So much problem to Muslims versus the Hindus. Why is this? Because neither one is actually perceiving the person within the body. They don't see the spark of God in a particular kind of body with a particular kind of dress. They don't see like that. They don't see as a saintly person. A saintly person sees the spark of God, the child of God, and he has black body or blue body, white body, doesn't matter. But over there they look and they go, ooh, Mohammedan. Ooh, don't touch me. Or the Mohammedan look, oh, Hindu heathen. Hindu idol worshipper. They don't see spark of God. They don't see child of God, my brother. If you have a brother, and he shows up to you in a whole different kind of clothing, you still see him, oh, it's my brother. Oh, what funny clothes you got on, brother. But he's still your brother. You still experience that he's your brother. Right? Is that not right? So similarly, if you understand your spiritual identity and that you're a child of God, the Supreme Spirit, then when you see another spirit soul, another child of God, then you experience, oh, my brother. What a funny kind of body he has. Doesn't matter. Just like you see walking down the street, 4 legs. The dogs are also our brothers. They're living entities, spirit, soul, part and parcel of God in the body of a dog. Our brothers are everywhere. Children of God. If they're not God's children, you tell me whose children they are. Huh? Whose children? Whose children? Sometimes people say like that. They say, you know, animals don't have souls. These are the people who identify themselves as a body, and they identify the soul as their possession. You see, they don't know that they are the spirit soul and they possess a body. Okay, they think I am the body and I possess the soul. And that guy over there, he's the body too, but he doesn't possess a soul. Therefore, I can eat him. See, this is really why they want to say like that, because they want to eat it. Even not for a long time in America, in the United States, did you know that the Catholic Church did not, for many, many, many years, they went for a long time debating on whether or not Indians had souls. They're debating whether or not Indians had souls. Do you think he has a soul? He doesn't act like it. No. We're not, it's not that we're the body and we possess or don't possess a soul. We are the soul within the body, and we possess a human body. And some other spirit soul possesses a dog body. Now, if there isn't anyone in that body, then who's walking around in it? You tell me, who's walking around in that body if there's no one in there? Who comes when you tell him, hey, come? Who's coming? There's someone in there. He's going, oh, somebody's calling me. Oh. And he goes. And you go, hey, get away! And then he goes, oh, oh, and he runs away. Who's seeing all this? The materialists, they say, oh, it's just a chemical reaction. It's just chemical reactions going on, you see? One time I was like, telling people at home in their television who watch television. In America, they love dogs. They have so many dogs. I tell you look in the eyes of your dog, and you tell me that no one's there. You look in the dog's eyes, you know. You're looking at him, and he's looking at you. Who's looking at you? You're looking at someone, right? And he's looking at you. This is saying the eyes are the window to the soul, yeah? So even with animals like this, you can see. There's someone in there looking at me. And dogs and cats, sometimes they also experience the same thing. They're doing something, you know? And then they don't know you're there. And then you come in and you're looking at them, and then they look at you and they go, it's like they look embarrassed, you know? I don't know if you ever experienced that. In America, they have a lot of experiences with this. People experienced a dog, didn't know they were there, then the dog found out they were there. There's someone in there. That's why you have a relationship. There's a saying in America, dog is man's best friend. They forgot that God is man's best friend. So, they have this saying that D-O-G is man's best friend. So, dog is man's best friend. They say. But then they deny the existence of the person. So they're saying, no one is man's best friend. Either someone's in the body, right? Or not. If they say no one's in the body, there's no spirit soul in that body, there's no person, there's no entity, there's no self in that body relating to me, then it means that I'm saying, if I'm saying dog is man's best friend, then I'm saying no one is man's best friend. Man is just having an illusory relationship with a piece of matter. You know? He's talking to his dog, petting his dog, having this friendship. When the dog gets hit by a car and dies, he cries. We all know there's a person in there. Now this person that's in there, that's the spirit soul. That's the part and parcel of God. That person is in the body of the dog, but had to leave when it got hit by a car, who you feel very sorry that that person had to leave. That person, that's the spirit soul within that body. That is a child of God. While he's in a lower form of life, like an animal form of life, then he doesn't have the facility to develop his relationship with God. In other words, he can't come to our lectures and hear and try to understand who he is. All he's interested in is eating, sleeping, sex, and fighting. You can invite him here tonight. He won't know what to do. He can't apply. You can try to teach him, chant on beads. He can't apply. See? It's very difficult for him. You try to give him beads. He starts eating it. All he can think of, eating. See? Or sleeping. If he was here, he'd probably be sleeping already. So the human form of life is the takeoff point to God's kingdom. So although we say that animals, or people say animals have no soul, in fact, there is a spirit soul in the body of an animal. But it's true that yes, the living entities and bodies of animals, they have a very difficult time understanding their relationship with God. It's not the body for God consciousness. The spirit soul, the child of God, ultimately gets to take on the human form of life again, and if he uses that human form of life properly, then he goes back to God. If he uses that human form to develop his understanding of his relationship with God, he develops his love for God, then the finish of the human body, he goes back to God. So, it is not that there's no one in the body of an animal, or that the person in the body of an animal is not a child of God. Augustine, they call him Saint Augustine. We can't accept he's a saint, we're very sorry to say. We would like to, but we cannot accept, because he followed this idea that there is a dog soul and a duck soul and a cat soul eternally. He doesn't say what happens to these duck souls, dog souls. So he's saying that God created children who could never know him. Try to understand this. The proposition here put forward by Augustine and other Christian theologians is that an animal is an animal's soul. There's a human soul and then a dog's soul. And only the human souls can ever know God. But in fact, like in the Bible, Jesus makes it very clear that all of God's children, or all living entities are God's children when he gave the example, when he told his followers, why are you worried about what you're going to wear? Aren't the lilies of the field, doesn't God take care of his own? Huh? Look how nice these lilies of the field are. Look how nice their clothes are. They're so beautiful. And doesn't God even take care of, doesn't the Supreme Father even take care of the birds? These other children of his? Is this not the business of the Father, feeding his children? So he's saying, here's God. He's taking care of all of his children. Even the birds. God is taking care of them. And there's that story of, who was that with Balaam? The guy's name was Balaam, right? And he had his donkey. And when an angel came, this is in the Old Testament, when an angel came and stood in the road, the donkey saw the angel, the agent of God, but Balaam didn't. And Balaam was supposed to be a spiritual teacher, an advanced spiritual person. How is it that the donkey can see an agent of God and stop, and Balaam did not? And the angel ends up chastising Balaam because he started beating his donkey. Come on, go, go, go. And finally the angel said, hey, why are you beating him? He's just stopping because he saw me. It's a person. The fact is, every living entity is a spark of God and has the potential to see God, to know God. Now what they're saying is that God created certain of his children, certain souls. He created them, but he created them in such a way that they would never, for all eternity, ever be able to know him. That they would always be separated from him. They'd never know him. They exist. It's a dog soul, is a living entity, and obviously a child of God, but they can never know God. In fact, the majority of God's children can never know him then. There's a lot more ants than humans. How many ants are there in this world? How many humans? There's probably more ants under this one building than there are in the whole world. People in the whole world. But all those living entities can never know God. They're always stuck. They're ant souls eternally. We don't accept this.
Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Sutershata Shrishima Jagad Guru Siddhaswarupananda Prabhupada Ki Jai. Now we'll go to a question and answer portion hosted by Sir Siddheshvar, disciple of His Holiness Jagad Guru Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Prabhupada, and His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Sir Siddheshvar, please come in. Namaste.
Roger Dodger, over and out. Haribo. Am I loud enough? Is this going to work? Yeah? Okay. Good. Everybody's good. Thumbs up? Yeah, excellent. Okay. Okay. I'm not that familiar with Christian philosophy. I know St. Augustine was quite the expert, but I was surprised to hear that he actually had this philosophy that each creature has a soul, and it's forever a duck soul, or it's forever an ant soul, or it's forever a dog soul. I thought that was an amazingly ignorant, thing to postulate for someone who is supposed to be saintly. But again, this is why we have Guru. This is why we have Guru. Guru, the pure devotee of God, can give us insight into the real understanding. How these people or these philosophies or these writings and so forth are to be understood. Let me offer my obeisances at the lotus feet of my spiritual master. Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namine. Gaura Karuna Swarupaya Radha Krishna Prastayate. Namaste Saraswati Devam Gaura Vani Pacharine. Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatya De Satarine. Vanchakalpa Tribhyascha Kripasindubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Okay, we are officially open to questions. Now, I asked you last time we talked last night to, think about a question to ask, whether or not it has anything to do with what Prabhupada talked about. Just a question that you would have in your own mind of, if I can help, I'll be happy to try. Where's William today? William's not here today. He's usually good for a question or two. Ah, there you are.
Sir. Namaste, Haribo.
Namaste, Haribo. I didn't see you there, Haribo. So do you have a question, William?
Let me think about it for a while, sir.
You were supposed to do that yesterday. You had all night and all day. Okay, I don't want to be, a bad teacher or whatever, William, you naughty boy.
Yeah, I've got to say in your house. I'm sorry. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Haribo. Anyone else have a question?
Haribo.
I don't see any question in the chat. Open your microphone if you have a question, or chat it if you like. This might be rather short.
Haribo.
Daryl, namaste.
Haribo. Namaste, Siddheshvar. Haribo. It's just why is it that Christians or maybe a lot of Christians don't either understand or have so little understanding of spirit being in different being in all living things? Why is there so little?
Because they don't understand. They don't understand what spirit is. Christians generally believe that they are the body and they have a spirit, which is somehow eternal. And either you live in this world, or you live in hell, or you live in heaven. These are the basic Christian choices. And so the real difficulty is, well, actually it's manifold. Christianity lost its parampara many times over the millennia, over the years. There have been a number of popes who were supposed to be the parampara, who not only didn't contribute anything, but also just pretty much broke the whole system. And then there were people like St. Augustine and other so-called Christian philosophical saints who have postulated and speculated without any real knowledge about the truth of spirituality, the truth of Christ, and the truth of Christianity. If you look into it, is very, very. If you've ever had a conversation with a priest, which I've had many, you will get to a point where the priest will say, well, you know, God is great and it's a great mystery. We don't really know. And if you have the same conversation with a born-again Christian fanatic, then he will come to the point of saying very quickly that you don't accept Christ, you don't have any idea what you're talking about, and you ought to go jump in a lake because you need to get Christ in your life. And that's basically your choices, you know, when it comes to Christianity. And the same thing is true of Islam. You know, they think that anybody who says that God has a form is an idol worshiper. And so they look at all the so-called Hindus, which is a misnomer in the first place. Hindu actually is a name given to the people that live below the Indus River. People that live below the Indus River were called Hindus. It's not even a religion. It's actually more than 300 different religions if you really examine it. But in any case, you know, they saw these people that are worshiping what they consider to be idols, and they thought, you know, these people are less than animals. They're horrible. And as Prabhupada pointed out in a different lecture, the way that the Muslims converted the Hindus was not by, you know, philosophical discussion or some revelation or anything like that. It was by going into their home and slaughtering a cow in their backyard and forcing them to watch as they ate the cow. And therefore, they were contaminated and no one wanted to have anything to do with it. Now, you can say that was, you know, a terrible thing for the Muslims to do, but it was also a very fanatic, very little understanding among the Hindus. You know, they felt that, you know, if they watched a cow being slaughtered, that they were contaminated and they were ostracized from the community, and so they had no place to go, no place to worship, no way that Krishna or Shiva or anybody could accept them, and so they, out of default, became Muslims. And that's a hell of a way to, you know, convert somebody. But because of the fanaticism of the Hindus, it worked. And so, you know, it isn't just the Christians. They've all of these religions have this team consciousness. This, you know, this is our team and we're the best team and everybody else is going straight to hell. We, you know, this is something that we need to be aware of, and we need to be careful not to fall into this same trap. Somebody asked me last night, you know, can you do something can you maintain your identity as a Christian and still follow Srila Prabhupada? Well, yes, you can. All he's asking anybody to do is simply chant the names of God, glorify God, add that to your Christian service, and your life will be benefited. So it is not, as he said, it's not like you can join anything. And I hope 100 years from now or 200 years from now, there's still nothing to join. That it is understood that that your relationship with God is your own. And there are ways of going about reaching him. And this sadhana bhakti is a very, very, the most advanced way to do it. But it isn't that we're on the sadhana bhakti team and everybody else is our enemy. That's just not the way it is. Does that answer your question, Daryl?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
a bit like, yeah, I was going to say a bit like what's going on with these radicalized Muslims these days with ISIS and that convert to Islam or will,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
fanaticism. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the way they convert. You know, not by philosophy, not by saying, you know, we're right because Muhammad said this and this and this and this and that is a higher philosophy than your Christian philosophy. No, it's you become a Muslim or we slit your throat. Very simple. That was the other way that they did it in India as well. They did the same. They pulled the same strategy in India as well. I dropped my pen.
About
Anyway.
as far away from God as you can get, I suppose, really, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I don't know what happens to the guy who actually lets him slit his throat. You know, seems like that would be a pretty quick pathway to Krishna. You know, having that
Yeah.
being willing to sacrifice his body for the sake of his relationship with God.
Yeah.
But
like a martyr kind of thing. Yeah.
but in any case, that's not a path that I would recommend too many people following. There won't be very
Thank
many
you.
of us left. Haribo.
Haribo.
Okay, we've got a couple of chat questions here. Guru is one. Please elucidate. Wow, big words, Ambet. Please elucidate why sometimes two pure devotees can have seemingly different and opposing teachings. Why? Because they're individuals. That's why you have, even among Bhaktivedanta Swami's disciples and Srila Prabhupada's disciples, you have a number of great advanced devotees, even pure devotees, Sudama Vipra and Katyani, and so many pure devotees that have come through Srila Prabhupada, and there may be some that have come through A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. I'm not that familiar with what their trip is, but the point is that that you don't get involved. It's not an organizational thing. Again, it's not a team thing. It's not because I'm in charge of ISKCON or I'm in charge of some temple somewhere that I am the guru. That has nothing to do with it. But two different gurus, because they are two different individuals, will have two different points of view. Not on the important things. I mean, not like, one of them's going to eat meat and the other one isn't, or something like that. But on the one may have an opinion about, a color, or, something. There's I like purple, or I like blue, or I like whatever, and so we each have different personalities, and that individual personality remains, whether one is a pure devotee or not. It's not like you become a pure devotee and then you all become robots. You all become the same. Nothing like that. If you look at the parampara, all of the pure devotees in our parampara were all very, very different. They were very. There was one story that who was it? I think Acharya Das told a wonderful story, which I'll have to look up, about this rich guy who was introduced to Gadadhar, and Gadadhar didn't want to have anything to do with him because he was very rich. But then it was revealed to him that this very, very rich guy was a pure devotee, and he was, willing and able to offer all kinds of tools and other things that were needed in the outreach program of Lord Chaitanya. So again, if you read, even if you read about the relationship between Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, or Krishna and Balaram. They're the same personality of Godhead, but yet they're so different in so many ways. You know, it's they are different, but they are the same. Achintya Beta Beta Tattva. It's pretty cool. Does that help, Ambet? Does that clarify anything?
I asked this question in relation to what you said about the two school of thoughts, about where we came from. You said the pure devotees have spoken, but there are two school of thoughts where we came from.
I'm sorry. Would you say that again, Ambet? I couldn't hear you.
I asked this question in relation to what you said about where we're talking about where we came from. You said there are two school of thoughts. You said the pure devotees have spoken.
Oh, about whether or not we've ever been in the spiritual sky?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, again, like I said, there are two schools of thought on that, and it's very, very complicated. And I surrendered to the Shishastak prayers, as did Acharya Das, when he was asked a similar question. Basically, he really got into explaining this and that, and how the spiritual sky works, and there's different levels to the spiritual sky and all these different things. But then he came back to the same thing. Somehow or other, we have found ourselves in this situation. So don't worry about how you got here. Okay, Ambet, don't worry about how you got here. Just chant Hare Krishna.
My question is why those two pure devotees could have two seemingly different teachings.
Why? Which two pure devotees? What?
Why two pure devotees could have different teachings? One teaches that we came from Vrindavan. Another teaches that we did not came from Krishna Loka.
It's a point of view. Both are true. Both are true. It's a point of view, a point of reference that one devotee may say this and another devotee may say that about. When it comes to the spiritual sky, you have to understand that the spiritual sky does not work the way this universe works at all. And we have been separated from Krishna and the spiritual sky for so long, so many lifetimes. You could say that, you could look at it either way. And spiritually speaking, both are true. That may not make any sense to you, but that is what Acharya Das came to the same conclusion, and I bow to his knowledge. And again, I refer you to the Shishastak prayers. Okay? Don't worry about whether or not we've been there before, whether we haven't been there before, why one devotee would say this and another devotee would say that. From a spiritual aspect, a spiritual point of view, it really is not something that you should be worrying your head about. I'm sorry if that doesn't satisfy you, but that's really the best I can do. I have heard this, like I said, I've heard a long, complicated answer to this, but basically what he was saying is the same thing that I'm telling you now. That the spiritual sky does not, in the spiritual world, it is not concepts and who was when, what, where, when. When you deal with eternity, when there is no time, it's a whole different ball game. And it's not important. I'm very sorry, but it's not important to your spiritual life. Okay? Please forgive me.
Namaste. Thank you very much.
Namaste, soul. Okay, we have another question from Jerry de la Pena. Namaste. How can we feel the presence of a real spiritual master? And in what sense we're practicing the highest order of the absolute truth? And in what sense, I guess you mean, are we practicing? In what sense are we practicing the highest order of the absolute truth? How can we feel the presence? It's not a, Jerry, it's not a feeling. It's not like, it's not like you feel warm or cold. It's not like you taste, it has nothing to do with your senses. When the truth of a pure devotee, what you should be praying on, Prabhupada, I got into this a couple of days ago too. Prabhupada somebody wrote a letter to him saying, all of your disciples are so much convinced that you are, God's pure disciple, pure devotee, pure friend and everything. I'm not there yet, but I hope I will be there someday, soon. That is the wrong prayer. You don't want to hope that I will see you, that I will see Srila Prabhupada the way that somebody else sees him. Okay? That's not right. What you should be praying is, how can I understand the truth? What is the truth of who you are? Please reveal to me, Krishna, please reveal to me your pure devotee. Please let me understand who is your pure devotee. Please wipe the ignorance from my consciousness and reveal to me. Again, it's not a feeling, it's a revelation. I don't want a revolution, I want a revelation. So that's what it's all about. It is not that you feel, oh gosh, I feel really like this guy must be a pure devotee of God because, I don't know, because everybody says he is. Or because I feel warm and fuzzy whenever I hear him talk or something like that. No, that is not the case. I mean, you may feel warm and fuzzy, but that just means you haven't spent much time with him, because he's right to the point, and he'll just he'll just point at you and say, you've got this problem. And you're like, what? And it's the truth. But your second part of your question, in what sense are we practicing the highest order of the absolute truth? What is the highest order of the absolute truth? If you knew that, Jerry, then you would know the answer. The highest order of the absolute truth is that every living entity, no matter what kind of body they have, is engaged in service. And ultimately, the highest understanding of that service is that it is service to God. The plant doesn't, the plant, a tree is home to so many insects and so many different nests of animals and so many different things, and serves so many different entities in so many ways. But ultimately, the fact that the tree even exists, the fact that he can take roots, the fact that he can branch into leaves, these are all to the glory of God. Without God, none of it would happen. And therefore, when we practice sadhana bhakti, we practice specifically serving God. Specifically, for a specific reason. The tree is just doing whatever it's doing. The dog is just engaged in eating, sleeping, sex life, and fighting off the other dogs, or whatever it is. All the animals are engaged in eating, sleeping, mating, defending, and so on and so forth. They're all subject to birth and death and old age and disease and so forth. But the fact is that when we engage in sadhana bhakti, we do that for the specific reason of loving service to God. When we make food as nicely as we can because we know that it's going to be offered, and then when we offer the food as lovingly as we can, when we light the candles, and we offer incense, and we offer water, and we offer a leaf, a flower, all these things, this is in itself the highest order of the absolute truth. Sadhana bhakti is Sanatana Dharma. But we are doing it consciously. We are doing it specifically, understanding that we are doing this for Krishna. We are doing this to please Krishna. We are doing this to serve Krishna. And in that, there is no higher concept. There is no higher state of being than loving service to the Supreme. That's it. That's it in a nutshell. That is the purpose. That is the goal. That is the end all and be all of life. Loving service for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. And when we do this consciously, we become more and more purified by this yoga of devotion, by this union through devotional service that we have, by this revitalization of our relationship, our eternal relationship with Krishna. I hope that answers your question, Jerry. Yuel Meek, or Yuel, again, you're going to have to send me a pronunciation guide. Namaste. How does one know if he is accepted as a disciple by a guru if the physical presence between the two is not present? Well, this is why we have initiation. This is basically why, initiation exists. A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, he met his spiritual master when he was about 24 years old. And when his spiritual master left the planet, and I don't know, it was like 1946 or something like that, he had only been with him for a total of about 2 weeks of time. And yet, his spiritual master gave him some specific service that he wanted him to perform. He told him to, spread this knowledge about Krishna into the Western world because you can speak English and you can, you also speak Sanskrit. He gave him specific instructions, what he could do. And that, he was initiated. You want to seek initiation. Initiation is a good thing. But real initiation should only basically be to confirm what's already there, to celebrate the relationship that you already have with the spiritual master. Now, it's wonderful, it's nice if you can go on site and see Srila Prabhupada, or if he ever comes back to the Philippines, you know, it would be wonderful if we had the opportunity to meet him and maybe speak with him, or at least hear him speak in person. But, you know, that's, Boy Ying is a perfect example of someone who has given his life to Srila Prabhupada, but has not been initiated. But the initiation is already there within his heart. And his relationship with Prabhupada is already there. Of this I have no doubt. So, again, I hope that answers your question. You don't need necessarily to have a physical presence of Guru. But then again, also, there are Siksha Gurus. There may be a Siksha Guru that will, you know, take you under his wing and help you, you know, that can give you some instruction. Bhaktivedanta said there is no difference between Diksha, your initiating spiritual master, and Siksha. And you have one Diksha Guru, and you may have one or two or three or more Siksha Gurus. I hope that helps. Alfred says, I just want to know your cell phone number. I want to ask you personally about something. Okay, I will, I'll put it private. Can I, well, Emily, if I put it in a chat, a private chat, are you up here? I don't, oh, Emily, there you are. If I put it in a private chat, would that be okay? Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay. All right, well, namaste.
I will call you.
Okay. I'll put it in a private chat later on.
Thank you.
Jerry, thanks, okay. And Ambet from Malu, we are spirit souls. Why does the Bible say, from dust you came and to dust you shall return? Well, the Bible isn't referring to your spirit soul, your eternal self. The Bible is referring to your body. And because most people, including most Christians, think that they are the body, the Bible is saying, from dust you came and to dust you shall return, unless you accept Jesus. See, there's a turnaround there. You know, from dust you came and to dust you will return, unless you accept Jesus as your guru, and you accept being the way, the truth, and the life for all the people of that time, place, and circumstance, giving an opportunity for the people that followed him to escape death. That was the whole idea. And again, the unfortunate thing is that the parampara has been lost. That is the problem with that. So we are very fortunate in that this Gaudiya Vaishnava parampara has not been lost. It has been kept up for all this time, from master to disciple. So that gives Prabhupada's disciples a leg up. So I hope that answers your question, Malu. Okay, good. Let's see. Yuel Mik says, one more question. Is there a thing called collective karma, like the suffering of the people of Vietnam? during the Vietnam War, or the people dying of hunger in Africa, or how about the black people in America? It's individual, but it just, if you're born black in in any part of America, but if you're born black, at least in the South, southern parts of the United States, you're going to have a rough time. If you're born black anywhere in the United States, actually, you're going to have a rough time. This is your karma. This is your body is given to you in accordance with, your past actions, your past things that you've seen, done, and decisions that you've made, and so forth. Maybe you were a slave owner, and so for a number of times you may have to come back as a black in America, where you experience that. Somebody just earlier today, somebody sent me a New York Times article that said, if you want to get rid of your racism, you should live in Hawaii. And somebody else under the comments said, no, that's not true, because white people are discriminated against in Hawaii, so that doesn't work. And I found that actually it is true. I lived in Hawaii for years and years and years. When I went there, I was a fool. I was a racially insensitive idiot. I acted like what Hawaiians call a haole, which means a white guy that thinks he's better than everybody else. I was arrogant and stupid, and tried to convince everybody that I was better than them. And when I began to experience that reverse racism that comes to white people living in Hawaii, that, hey, you fucking haole, what you think you're doing here? You sucking white guy, get the fuck out of here, man. And they'll tell you, and they'll beat you up, and I went to high school in Hawaii where a white guy in the bathroom, you couldn't even pee because all the local guys were there in the bathroom, and they'd kick you out or kick you in the nuts or whatever. You experience reverse racism where everybody's pissed off at the haoles, at the white people. But then after I met Srila Prabhupada, and I began to realize that it isn't that I'm white, you're Hawaiian, you're Fijian, you're Samoan, you're Filipino, you're this or that, you're Japanese, you're Chinese, whatever it is that we are all spiritual beings, and you experience racism in reverse, and the first thing that happens is you begin to see, oh my God, this is what white people are doing to black people in other places. This is what they are feeling like. You begin to feel like what a black person feels, what a Japanese person feels, what a Mexican feels when they're, purposely pointed out and discriminated against. And then again, like I said, after I met Prabhupada, I realized that we're all of the same spiritual essence. We're all part and parcel of God. And as soon as that idea of aloha doesn't mean hello or goodbye or thank you. Aloha is actually made up of 3 words. A, which means enlightenment or God, and lo, which means unto the earth, and ha, which is the breath of life. Ha, prana, the breath of life. So what it actually means is I recognize God within you. That's the true meaning of aloha. And that is the true, essence of the so-called aloha spirit. I experienced that for suddenly I was not being picked on anymore. I was not, the subject of people's wrath anymore because I was white. I was still white, but somehow or other this spirit, people could recognize. The local people that grew up there, the Japanese, the Hawaiians, the Filipinos, and everybody that grew up there, they were, we embraced each other as brothers and sisters. And there was no problem. And so, in terms of your question about collective karma, again, we experience, when we take a birth in a place where there is so much suffering, you have to understand that it's not that you all did all the same thing in the same past life and you all come together and become Vietnamese, or you all come together and become blacks or something like that. Each individual has his own karma to deal with. And they take birth in a black family, they take birth in Vietnam, they take birth during a war, they take birth in gosh, just imagine the karma of 6 million Jews who were gassed by Hitler, for heaven's sakes. But it isn't like they were all, on a team and they all took birth on the Jewish team because they all had the same experience in their past life. It isn't a team thing. It's an individual thing. Your karma is individual. It is your karma. So I hope that helps. It is up to Yamaraj and the powers that be beyond death as to where you will go. I mean, even worse than taking birth in a place like Vietnam during a war, or a place like, Alabama as a black person, would be taking birth as a worm or an insect or something like that, where you have no chance of understanding your relationship with God. So, I hope that answers that question. Are there any other questions? Well, if that doesn't answer your question, let me know. But does anybody else have a question that they'd like to ask? Feel free. Don't be shy. I hope that...
Hello.
Yes.
For Joel, if you want, we have this booklet. We have this booklet.
Caesar, mute your microphone for a minute.
We have this booklet, Understanding Karma.
Yes.
Srila Prabhupada answers that in page 11. If you want, it's a long.
Is it long?
Yeah, it's in page 11 about collective karma.
Okay.
Here, on page 11, you can read it.
Okay, where do we get it?
That's the problem.
That's the problem, right?
Or maybe I can type. I can type it in your. We are friends in Facebook anyway. I can type the answer of Jagad Guru here. There, I will just type it.
Well, or you can if you have a scanner, you can scan it and just send it to me. I'd be happy to read it. Send it to me, attached email or whatever.
Okay.
And
that's what I'll do.
And we can discuss this, some other time.
Okay.
In more depth.
Okay. Haribol.
Do you want to summarize it though? Was my answer even close to correct? Oh, your microphone is off again, Bala.
Can I just read it?
Well, if it's not too long, yeah.
Okay. Question is, what's that? When you talk about the individual's karma, I wonder about war refugees and other millions of people who all suffer collectively. How is their karma connected to each other? Why do they suffer all at the same time? Then Jagad Guru said, there's no such thing as collective karma or suffering. The suffering is only the individual suffering, just like Siddhesvar said. You can't suffer the sensual experience of another person's suffering. In other words, I am in this body, you are in your body. I can suffer and I can enjoy, but you can't directly experience it. An individual may be suffering, and yet another individual sitting right next to him might not be experiencing it at all. So suffering is an individual experience. The same goes for enjoyment.
Okay, so we're on the right track.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much for sharing that, Bala. Again, if there's any question. Yoel says, where do I get it? Well, we don't know. Open your mic, Bala. Open your mic.
I have a PowerPoint presentation on that subject. I made this a PowerPoint presentation, the whole thing.
Okay, a PowerPoint presentation on karma. And, it's very unfortunate that, as far as I know, there's no source of Srila Prabhupada's books here in the Philippines, which is really unfortunate. I was able to track down some Bhagavad Gitas. I bought about a dozen Bhagavad Gitas, small ones. Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Is that from a little pamphlet, or is that one of his books, Bala? Is it a little pamphlet? Yeah, it's a little pamphlet.
A little pamphlet.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
okay.
one of the Life Force series.
One of the Life Force series.
Yeah, that's.
I think I might actually have that one. I might even have that one. If you come to Binyan whenever we can get out of this quarantine, I'll bring it. I'll bring it with me in my chanting bag, if I have it. I have a bunch of those Life Force series books. So, any other questions? Yes, Narayan. Oh, okay. I thought you were going to ask me a question. Okay. Namaste.
Haribol.
Yes, William.
Yes, sir. With regards to killing house pests, that justifiable?
Well, Bhaktivedanta Swami, when he swatted a mosquito one time, people were like, oh my gosh. But, he said that it's him or me. When you have mice carrying diseases, you have moths eating your clothes, you have cockroaches spreading God knows what throughout your pantry or your food stores. Now I don't, for the most part, unless there's like a cockroach standing right in front of me, and I'm like, okay, it's you or me, buddy. I may kill a cockroach once in a great while, but by and large, I don't kill the insects because I don't have any. And the reason I don't have any is not because I'm such a cleany-weeny guy, but because I have electronic pest getter-ridder-overs. I've got them all over my house. That I've got one we've got two sections of our house. One has all the bedrooms, and the other one has the kitchen, living room, and so forth. And I've got one in one half of the house, and the other one in the other half of the house. And you know, my wife was like, "Oh, you just wasted your money. That's not going to work. It's terrible. You just, gave up your money for that." But after about maybe 2 or 3 weeks, we had mice, we had cockroaches, we had ants, we had all these. We got none of them anymore. Now, sometimes cockroaches will come home with your groceries, and they hitch a ride in the box or the bag or something like that, and all of a sudden you might see the rare cockroach. But we haven't had a mouse. Even when the seasons change, when the ants used to come out, they used to come into our house like when the seasons change from spring to summer, from the dry season to the wet season. Man, they used to come out by the bazillions. They don't come out anymore. So, the mice don't come anymore. None of that stuff. So my suggestion would be the most humane way to deal with, pests of any kind is to just keep them the hell away. If you can. I mean, these instruments are not that terribly expensive. They're, 200 or 300 pesos a piece or something like that. And it keeps them away. So, I don't know. Works for me. And I don't have to kill anybody. So, there you go. But if you do have to kill somebody, remember that's a person. And, I'm sorry, but, I hope this will get you closer to Krishna. Bam. So, whatever it takes. You don't want your house overrun with pests. Then you've got diseases and all kinds of other things you got to deal with. The material world is bad enough without all that. So, yeah, thank you, William. Haribol Namaste. Can we request you to tell a story of Mahabharat next time? And next episode, sir. Well, that's kind of something that I suggested to Boying. I don't know what we're going to do after Vyasapuj. I don't want to do anything like that now, or tomorrow, or Sunday. But I was thinking that maybe we could take a look at the Mahabharat in relationship to Bhagavad Gita. In other words, there are all these heroes that are mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, from Duryodhana to Radheya to other many great heroes, and of course there's the story of the 5 Pandavas. Where did they come from? And there's a wonderful story about Bhima marrying a demoness. Bhima married a demoness, and they had a son. They had a son that looked like Batman. They had a son that had dark skin, pointy ears, and wings, and his name was Ghatotkacha. And Ghatotkacha became played a very important role in the Battle of Kurukshetra. It's a wonderful, wonderful story. And so all of these things I would love to do, but it's going to be up to Boying and the powers that be, whether that's the direction that we want to go. So, that's up to everybody else. I will go wherever we want to take these classes. Prabhupada never really discussed Mahabharat at length. Bhaktivedanta Swami never wrote a translation of Mahabharat. It's not something that you generally, it's something that people generally do on their own. They read it and so forth. If you do want to read it, again, it's not easy to get here. You can order it through Amazon. You want to get the one that is by Krishna Dharma. You can order it through Amazon. I think it runs about 3,000 or 4,000 pesos. I know a guy locally that has one. I've been wanting to buy it, but I haven't had 3,000 or 4,000 pesos to buy it. But it's almost impossible to get here in the Philippines directly. You have to order it. Apparently you can't even get it this particular translation. You can't even get it in India, from what the guy told me. He's got one of the last ones that was available in India, and he's willing to sell it to me, but I'm just too poor. So I haven't gotten it. I wanted to get it so that I could, maybe give it to somebody. But you can look it up on Amazon or one of those types of services and have one shipped to you. But again, I don't know, if we started talking about Mahabharat, it would be the first classes that anyone has done about that, and I don't know if we're ready to branch out into, firsts. We might be better off just sticking with the scriptures that have been given to us by Prabhupada's grace. And but that's, again, like I say, that's not up to me. My own personal feeling is that if we could highlight some of the stories from Mahabharat in connection with Bhagavad Gita, then that might be a way that we can do it. Daryl, are you trying to talk? Looks like you're trying to talk. No? Okay, you're talking to somebody else. Okay. So there we go. That's it. No more questions. Wait a minute. Marilyn says, "Sir, please, their characters and virtues we love to hear. Thank you." Well, again, like I said, it's not up to me. I'd be happy to do it if that's the direction that we go in after Vyasapuj. But, there's so many scriptures that we could discuss as well. So, is that it? No more questions?
Hello.
Yes. Haribol, Janardhan.
I just wanted to ask something because we see lots of videos and programs by Srila Prabhupada when he was in the younger age. I mean,
Wait,
publicly.
your sound quality is very bad. Please be very clear and loud. Something about a video?
Am I clear now? Yeah, I'm clear now.
Talk slowly and loudly.
Can you hear me now?
Well, it kind of sounds like you're talking like this. It kind of sounds like you're talking with your hand over your face. It's just a bad microphone. So, just...
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you all the time, but it sounds muffled. I can hear you. Try asking your question. Go ahead.
Okay. We see videos and lots of programs by Srila Prabhupada in the younger days publicly. I'm just wondering why he's not doing some public more than like before.
You're wondering what? Why we don't celebrate Srila Prabhupada's appearance day more publicly?
Oh, why don't we see him more publicly than the younger days?
Ah, okay. I really could not tell you. You know, his body is a year older than mine. He's full of all kinds of energy. He's taken on the karma of thousands of disciples. I don't know, you know, when we do see him, you know, it almost looks like he's bursting at the seams to me. You know, I don't know. I don't want to speculate too much on you know, he's very, very busy all the time, and I don't know why we don't. I don't have an answer to that. I even asked my daughter living in Hawaii, you know, how's Prabhupada's health? How's he doing? And she said, you know, we don't know. You know, we see him as much as you do. So we're always, you know, concerned, and a lot of people are, you know, doing whatever they can to help take care of him, his body. But I'm totally in the dark on that as to, you know, why we're not seeing him in public so much anymore. You know, I don't know the answer. I don't want to speculate on what it might be. You know, whatever it is. You know, he's got his reasons. So, and he hasn't shared them with me. Okay, does that sort of not answer your question? Okay. You guys, be careful with your microphones. You know, Ambet also, when you guys are asking questions on the microphone, you know, if you're trying to use your laptop microphone or something like that, I tell you, man, it's really, really hard to understand. Very, very difficult to understand. And I've got a computer, I've got a mixer here with all kinds of EQ and everything, and I still have difficulty understanding sometimes when, you know, you're speaking through very, very poor microphones. It would be worthwhile to, you know, I don't know, spend a couple hundred pesos on Lazada or something and get a halfway decent microphone. You know, if we're going to keep doing this, and I'd love to, when you ask questions, you know, personally on the mic, but it won't do us any good if I can't understand you. And my ears are, you know, I've got 70-year-old ears, and they're not all that great either. So, but I can't do anything about that. So, you know, it's up to you guys to see what you can do about getting the best sound you can, you know, whatever it takes. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Balakrishna Das, what are we saying to Srila Prabhupada? What is, I asked somebody to write it down, but I haven't yet heard what it is that we're supposed to be saying to Prabhupada. Happy birthday, something, Jagad Guru, or what is it?
I think it's Hobol. I think it's Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Guru Dev, happy birthday.
Jaya Guru Dev?
I'm not sure if it's Jaya Jaya Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, happy birthday, or just one Jaya. Jaya Jaya maybe. Because I wrote it down, but I thought it was in that order.
Okay. Bala, do you have the answer? I can't hear you. I can't hear. Are you speaking, Bala? I can't hear you. Cannot hear you. Nothing.
Not public.
There we go. What is it?
Not in public.
Not in public?
Yeah.
I don't understand. What is that in response to?
You should not say it in public.
What?
You're not talking about it in public. Yeah. We're live today.
Wait a minute. We're going to give Prabhupada a greeting. That's all I want to know is what is the greeting that we're going to give him?
Okay. We'll talk about it in the meeting later.
Okay. I must have missed something. I thought this was for everybody to take part in. I thought we're recording this tonight. We're not?
We'll ask
I asked Moying earlier today. He said we're recording it tonight. So I'm totally confused, which is my usual state.
Yeah, we're not recording the greeting.
We're not recording the greeting tonight. Oh, okay. Okay.
We're just
My mistake.
The rock out. When Srila Prabhupada comes, we'll be standing or waving our hands.
Yeah, I understand that we're supposed to record when Prabhupada is chanting and we're going to be dancing and chanting. But I thought we were also recording the greeting. But okay. My mistake.
Okay. So we'll go to share my kirtan. Sal Custodio, are you there? From the USA. Sal? Are you there?
Haribo.
Sal Custodio? Hello? Sal Custodio, are you there? Hola. No Sal Custodio? Okay, I'll just...
Haribol.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so it's your turn. So what's Mark's iPad?
Yeah.
Are you that one?
That's my son.
Okay. Okay.
Haribol.
Chant.
Haribol.
Haribol Namaste.
Haribol Namaste.
We're looking for your name, so you're using Namaste. So start now, Sal.
All right. Thank you. Haribol Namaste. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Smati Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shmate Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namo Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Gorakaya Swaripaya Radha Krishna Pristaya Siddhaswarupananda, Paramahamsa namine, Yogakarina Swarupaya, Radha Krishna Kristane, Bhaja Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara Vasudeva Bhakta Vrinda, Bhaja Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara Vasudeva Bhakta Vrinda, Bhaja Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara Vasudeva Bhakta Vrinda, Bhaja Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara Vasudeva Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Gopala Govinda Rama Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohan 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 Hari Go Nitai Go Nitai Go Hari Go Nitai Go Nitai Go Hari Go Nitai Go Nitai Go Hari Go Hari Go Nitai Go Nitai Go Hari Go Hari Go Nitai Go Nitai Go Hari Go Nitai Go Nitai Go Hari Go Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Jaya Guru Dev, 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 Jaya Jaya.
Argo, thank you very much. Sal,
Thank you.
What
Thank
time?
you. Thank you for invitation.
What time is it there, Sal?
It's 6:47
Ah,
morning. The
okay.
sun is in my back now.
We worried about you because we thought it's so early. Anyway,
Oh no, I've been up since 4 o'clock. You know, I've been watching the video. So
okay. Thank you, Sal, from the US. We're
thank
going
you,
back to the
Haribol.
Philippines.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Haribol.
Thank you, Siddhaswarupananda.
Yeah. Thank you, Sal, from
Thank
the
you.
USA.
Haribol, thank you very much. Haribol,
The
very
Philippines.
nice.
We're going to Quezon City. Janner Lema and family. Are you there? Are the kids still awake?
Yes. Can you hear me? Okay. Okay. Krishna Prestaya Utale Srimate Siddha Swarupananda Paramahamsa Iti Namine. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Utale Srimate Siddha Swarupananda Paramahamsa Iti Namine. Baja Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vyasapuj, Vyasapuja. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhara, Shri Vyasapuj, Vyasapuja. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hari Hare Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Devotee Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Devotee Jaya 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 Guru Dev Jaya Jaya Nitai Gaur Jaya Jaya Dev Jaya Jaya Nitai Gaur Jaya Jaya Guru Dev Jaya Jaya Nitai Gaur Jaya Jaya Guru Dev Jaya 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 Srila Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Arbo.
Well, thank you, Janner. I think it's good that your children are still awake.
Thank you.
They're falling asleep now while chanting. Anyway, thank you, all. Now we go to Singapore. Pinky, Raymond, and
Haribo, Krishna Dasi.
oh, one more kid is still
One fell asleep.
yeah.
Haribo.
Haribo.
Paramahamsa Krishna Prestaya Srimate Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Krishna Prestaya Srimate Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Krishna Prestaya Srimate Siddhaswarupananda Paramahamsa Namaste. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasade Gauranga Vidya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasade Gauranga Vidya Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Bala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Bala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Gopala Govinda Rama Madana Mohana Bala Govinda Rama Madana